Tola wants the new iPhone so badly that she agrees to just dinner with a strange man. The dinner never ends, and the restaurant is filled with others who made the same deal. Before we jump into the story, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future stories. Tola stared at the bright display of the latest iPhone in the store window. It glistened under the lights, calling to her. Everyone at school already had the newest model, and she was tired of being left out. Her job at the salon barely covered her transport and data bills, so saving up seemed impossible. That was when she met Mr. Daimeji, a sharply dressed man with a gold watch and an easy smile. "You could have it today," he said, handing her a business card. "Just dinner. No funny business." Tola hesitated. Her friends would call her crazy, but the thought of holding that phone in her hands made her heart race. After all, what could one dinner hurt? She texted him later that evening, agreeing to meet at a place called Velvet Fork downtown. It sounded fancy enough. Maybe she'd even take a few photos to post online afterward. Velvet Fork was unlike anywhere Tola had ever been. The building was tall, with crimson curtains and black marble floors. A hostess, wearing a strange silver mask, welcomed her without asking for her name and led her into a dimly lit dining room. The chandeliers flickered oddly, as though the light was alive. Seated at a corner table, Mr. Daimeji waved her over. Tola sat down, feeling a tingle of excitement, and a little fear, crawl up her spine. Around her, dozens of people dined, yet something was off. No one laughed, no one chatted. They ate mechanically, eyes hollow. Mr. Daimeji handed her a glass of wine. "Relax, dear. After dinner, your reward awaits." Tola tried to smile but found herself gripping the edge of the table. The first course arrived, steaming meat that smelled rich but unfamiliar. She hadn't even touched her fork when the doors to the restaurant slammed shut with a loud thud. Startled, Tola turned to Mr. Daimeji. "Why did they lock the doors?" she whispered. He smiled kindly, almost pitifully. "Dinner isn't over yet." A new waiter approached, setting down a second course without clearing the first. The portions kept growing larger, and Tola realized no one was leaving their tables, not even to the bathroom. She looked around more closely and noticed something terrifying. Some diners wore the same clothes as in the pictures hung along the restaurant walls, pictures that looked decades old. Their faces were thinner now, more drained, but it was unmistakably them. "What is this place?" she asked, her voice shaking. Mr. Daimeji's smile widened. "A small price to pay for what you want." "You agreed, Tola. You wanted the phone, remember?" Tola's stomach twisted. She stood up to leave, but her legs wouldn't obey her. Panic rose in Tola's chest as she tried to move, but an invisible force held her to the chair. No matter how hard she struggled, she couldn't stand. Around her, the other diners continued to eat, mechanically lifting fork after fork into their mouths. Their plates never emptied. A waiter reappeared, setting down a slice of red velvet cake that smelled suspiciously like raw meat. "Dessert, madam," he said in a cold, flat tone. Tola shook her head, but her hand, moving against her will, picked up the fork. Tears filled her eyes as she fought to stop herself. Bite after bite, she chewed tastelessly, her body moving like a puppet. Mr. Daimeji watched her quietly. "You see, my dear, everything has a cost. And here, you pay with time." Tola gasped. "For how long?" He leaned in close, whispering into her ear, "Until the hunger leaves you. And it never will." As the hours, or was it days, dragged on, Tola noticed others around her more clearly. Some guests had aged rapidly, their hair turning gray, skin sagging at the table. Yet they kept eating, as if driven by something deep and terrible. She spotted a teenage boy with a cracked old phone clutched desperately in one hand while he forked food with the other. An elegant woman in a silk dress sobbed silently as she chewed. All of them had made bargains, just like her. All had thought they were clever enough to escape with a simple yes and a dream of something shiny. Tola closed her eyes, wishing she could wake up. Wishing she had been strong enough to say no. But the silver-masked waiters continued to bring food, courses she didn't recognize anymore, while the walls of Velvet Fork grew darker, hungrier. Tola lost track of time. The pain of eating when she wasn't hungry gnawed at her more deeply than starvation ever could. Her body felt bloated, heavy, yet she couldn't stop. The worst part was the regret, the sharp memory of when she could have walked away. Every time she thought of the iPhone, it mocked her. Was it really worth all this? Across the table, Mr. Daimeji remained pristine. His plate was untouched. He sipped his wine lazily, watching her with an amused twinkle. "Why aren't you eating?" she demanded hoarsely. "I have no hunger," he replied. "I am the one who feasts on your time, your youth." Tola's fork dropped from her hand with a loud clatter. Around her, the masked waiters turned sharply toward her, as if she had committed a grave offense. She realized there were rules here, rules she didn't understand yet, but would soon. In a desperate moment of clarity, Tola remembered the only thing that seemed untouched by the restaurant's magic, her mind. She might not control her body, but maybe she could find another way. She began to observe carefully. The waiters only refilled her plate if she finished it. If she could somehow hide the food without eating it. When the next meal arrived, a glistening black pudding, Tola forced her hand to slip the food into her napkin instead of her mouth. Slowly, carefully, she hid more and more. The waiters frowned but said nothing. Mr. Daimeji narrowed his eyes. "You cannot cheat hunger forever," he warned. Still, Tola continued, feeling hope flicker in her chest for the first time. If she could trick them long enough, maybe the binding spell would weaken. Maybe she could finally stand up and leave. Tola had almost filled her lap with hidden food when the restaurant's lights dimmed even further. A deep, rumbling voice echoed through the hall, "The bill must be paid." The masked waiters surrounded her, their hands outstretched. Mr. Daimeji rose from his seat, his smile gone. "You had a chance, child," he said. "But you chose debt over patience." The napkin in her lap burst into black flames, and the hidden food disintegrated into ash. Tola screamed as invisible chains wrapped around her wrists, yanking her from the chair toward a large door at the back of the restaurant, one she hadn't noticed before. The last thing she saw before the door closed behind her was a new young woman walking into Velvet Fork, clutching a battered Android phone. Tola's heart broke. The cycle would continue, and now, she was part of the restaurant itself, another forgotten soul paying an endless price for a foolish dream.